So the truth is, I used to think the way that I was supposed to fix my body was to push it until I couldn't get up the next day, or push it until I was extremely overwhelmed, either in the gym or just in general. So I wanted to talk today about how I went from not liking my body to working with what I had and still moving forward with it.
Find you under all that pain. There's a fire you can't contain. Let it lead the way.
So this is how I stopped hating my body and I started working with it. But first, we're going to talk about toxic fitness habits. Of course, y'all know I'm a fitness coach. Y'all know that this is what I do. I didn't realize that I even liked it, or that it was something that I could turn into a career. It was just something that happened and came naturally to me, because I always liked working out. I always liked running. I always liked being in some type of physical activity, whether it was riding a bike or rollerblading or running around the block with my sister. All these things, being in the gym all the time, that was my natural state. But as I got older, I didn't realize part of the reasoning why I did it, or part of the reasoning why I was so hard on myself. So if you don't know me and you're new to my page, my name is Ashley Nicole. I am a women's health and life coach and somewhat of a motivational or inspirational speaker, just working through and working with women, figuring out where the hell we're going with life and the next steps, whether that is talking about your body, whether that's talking about your finances, what you want in this next journey or chapter in your life, and really just taking the reins, just taking a hold of who you are, where you are, helping you to understand that you're capable, you're more than enough. And even though some days we feel overwhelmed and we feel like we don't want to do it, or we don't know what the heck we're doing next, I'm that coach that's going to help you through that. I'm going to try my hardest in this video to not look around, but I'm sitting in the parking lot and sometimes I'm nosy. So we're going to focus in. This is me and you right here, right now. So real quick, let's talk some of the toxic traits that I was dealing with my body, and also pushing into my fitness career before then. So some of the toxic traits were, I would go where I would put myself on a diet, or I would only eat certain things, or I would feel bad whenever I ate bread, or whenever I ate ice cream, or whenever I did anything that wasn't in this thing that I created for myself, right? So here is one of the things that I could say I did was I overworked myself, meaning I would go and I would work out. I would work out a couple days a week, and I would do a really good job. But what would happen was, the moment that I did something that wasn't in my plan that I had for myself, like maybe I had ice cream, or maybe I ate too much pasta, or maybe I ate too much bread, I would just be so down on myself and I would feel bad. And then I would literally get up right there where I was and I would like start working out. I would be like laying on the floor watching TV, doing some crunches or something, because I was so concerned that all the work that I had put in was going to be ruined in one day. That is not the truth. It can't be ruined in one day, but this is what we have to understand. It took us years, days, months, weeks, bad mind frame to get where we are, right? To get to that unhealthy body, that uncomfortable body, that I don't have the best shape, that I can't wear what I want, that pooch in the belly that some of us get, that flat butt, all those type of things that I feel like I had experienced, because I do have a tinier body. So let me give you some demographics on who I am and my body and what I feel like I was struggling with. I'm about 5'1". I weigh about 112 pounds. The most I've ever been and my natural weight is about 116. I've never really been anything more than that, except for when I got pregnant. I think it was like 170 pounds, but I lost that within 2 weeks of having her. So I've always had a smaller, petite body. I can't say that I had a big round butt. I've always had decent boobs. I've always had really nice legs, really nice arms, but I always carried a little bit of a gut, and I struggled with that from time to time because I didn't like how that looked, right? I always looked at other people and I compared myself. So this is the thing, that I had toxic traits and toxic things when it came to my fitness journey and what I wanted for myself. One was the under eating and then overeating because I was binging. Two was the working out and then being so hard on myself whenever I didn't work out harder. And then the second thing was always comparing myself to someone else. not a good thing. And then the other thing was emotional eating. I was good at being an emotional eater, right? When I was feeling sad or when I was happy or just pretty much any emotion that you could think about, I was eating because I actually enjoy food. And it took me a long time. Growing up, I was a kid who ate with my food on a separated plate. So I literally had a plate that I think had like 3 triangles. So one will go here, one will go here, one will go here. I didn't like my food to touch. And I didn't know then that I really don't even know what that was. I'm gonna just be honest. But as I gotten older, I realized that it wasn't that I had a problem with food. It was just certain foods didn't work well with my body. I liked what I liked. And now that I'm older, I pretty much eat everything. I also went through a moment, because it wasn't a phase, a moment where I hated meat. And I still go through that time to time where right now I can't stand chicken. I'm pushed into beef. I always liked a lot of meat, but then I'll go through a phase where I've just had too much of it, right? So now I went through being a vegetarian for like 8 or 9 years. Then I moved into veganism. So I wasn't eating cheese. I wasn't eating dairy. I wasn't eating anything from an animal. And that was probably the hardest journey for me because I like food, and that's just the honest truth. And I knew that there were certain nutritional values that I needed from certain things. Didn't have to be animals, but I wasn't eating what I needed to. So within that, I actually lost a lot of weight, but I also lost a lot of definition in my body. My body was probably the nicest that it could look at that size. I had a flat stomach, but I also had a flat butt. You know, nothing was giving adult. So as the years, moved along, I started slowly getting back into meats. I started becoming a pescatarian for a little while. And then I also got into like chicken, and then now I'm into beef. And I pretty much eat everything except for pork. I don't eat a lot of seafood outside of like salmon, fish, shrimp every now and then. So my toxic traits when it came to really focusing on my body is like, I always knew that saying like your body is a temple. I always knew that. But I was thinking more so like making sure that you're working out, physical hygiene, making sure you're taking your vitamins, going to the doctor, trying to regulate your nervous system. I didn't even know about nervous system stuff starting out. I'm gonna just be honest. I just thought I'm stressed. It is what it is. So some of my toxic traits were the emotional eating, the under eating, the overeating, the judging myself whenever I didn't just pull 120%, the working out to the extremes, to going weeks at a time without working out. And I really failed with having consistency, right? I was putting so much pressure on myself that I broke myself down, and then I would just disappear for a couple months. I would always work out, don't get me wrong, but the workouts were not hard. They would be like 15 minutes in the morning, a little yoga at night, whatever. Nothing was really making a difference on my body. I wasn't seeing any changes. I went through phases where I did 21-day resets. I went through phases where I did, 10,000 steps, or all gym workouts, or all Pilates, or all yoga. But the problem was the inconsistency, and the problem was the faith that I actually had in myself. I was struggling with believing that I could reach my full potential when it came to having the body of my dreams, not looking at someone else's body, but my body, the things that actually I needed to work on. So I knew there were things that I needed to work on. I always had nice legs, but the glutes weren't matching. And I'm not talking about BBL allegations. Wish I had those at some points. Absolutely not. Mines were like, I had a flat butt, and people always said, dang, you had a flat butt. Yeah. And then I had a little bit of a gut because I just carry a lot of weight there because I'm an emotional eater. I am very empathetic to other people. So I struggled with the weight being in the wrong place instead of up in your face. But no, seriously. So I had to work through not comparing myself. It's okay that my body looks this way at the moment, but that doesn't mean my body is going to stay this way. What can I do to stay consistent, to take off a little bit of pressure, and that actually works for me, my body, in this time, in this moment? So here's where the shift came in for me. I stopped demanding and pushing and being hard on my body, and I actually just started listening to it. Because when you're understanding who you are as a woman in every area of your life, what I needed at 18 in physical fitness, being a cheerleader and things like that, isn't what I needed when I got into my 20s, isn't what I needed after I had a baby, isn't what I needed when I got into my early 30s. Now pushing into 40, there are different things that my body needs. There are different things that work for my body, and there are different things that I don't. So originally I like being in the gym. The gym worked out for me so well. That was just my thing. I never really did any other classes, especially in my teens and in my 20s. But then after I started getting, when I started getting older and I got into my 20s, I was in the gym in my apartment complex. I will work out, I will walk, I will go rollerblade. I still love skating, I still love rollerblading. I actually need to do it more. I need to find where my rollerblades are, because I think we might have threw them away in the move. However, so the different things that I needed then is not the same that I need as this soon to be 40-year-old self. So there was a while where I just stopped going to the gym because I realized that I wasn't a gym girly. At least that's what I thought for myself. So I picked up different things. I started learning yoga. I started learning Pilates. I started learning workouts at home and calisthenics and all those different things. But I never found anything that I felt like I was getting a full result from. And that was because I just never really had a plan. I just knew, work this and work that, whatever. That's part of the reason why I went in and I got my licenses in personal training. I got my licenses in group fitness, because not only did I want to learn for other people, anything that I push to other people and want people to do with me, or I want to help them with, I go through the experience first. So the shift came when I realized what my body needed, right? What I needed at 28 was different. I could do, going rollerblading and doing whatever. And the weights, I won't even say 28, more like 23 to 25-ish. The weight would not be on me. But then when I got older, and we know what hormones and menopause and, all the different things that women go through, I pray I'm not in menopause yet, even though people are telling me I'm premenopause. I don't know. We'll see. All the things that we experience, your body is going to change as you age, as you get older, as you eat certain things, as you remove certain things, making sure you're drinking enough water. Because my handy dandy, like instead of a notebook, I have a handy dandy cup, right? So the thing for me, the shift was, what do I need right now at this moment, right? So the yoga chair worked for me in the beginning, in my early 30s. The yoga chair I still do, but not as much, because I noticed that I need more heavier workouts. So my Pilates is good for my body. My yoga, power yoga, is extremely good for my body. But now that I've gotten older and that bone density tends to change from what I've been learning, is I need to be lifting weights. So I got back in the gym. But the difference this time around is I have a plan, and I had a plan before I walked into this gym, right? So instead of me just going here and I'm looking around and I jump from this machine to this machine and I'm working arms here and I'm working legs here and I'm working this here, I had to make a plan every single day when I go in this gym. What is the goal? What are my outcomes? What am I working? How do I want to feel when I leave? So the workout plan that works best for me is this. I know that I need my steps in because I have somewhat of a decent metabolism, but because I carry more weight in my middle section, I know that I need a lot more cardio, and I know that I need a lot more movement. So I'm not talking about HIIT cardio. I don't need to do 45 minutes of cardio a day, but I need to get up and I need to be moving, right? So what I make sure is that I at least get 10,000 steps in a day. I do my 5 minutes of cardio before I start workout, my 5 minutes of cardio after I finish my workout. So this is what my week of my workout schedule looks like. I teach class on Monday, which is a core class, definitely needed. I'm trying to get back into, I am getting back into walking on my walking pad at home to get my 10,000 steps in, even though I only work out for 45 minutes that day in my class. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I go to the gym. I do legs and lower body. Then we do core, mainly just core, and cardio. And then we do upper body, and of course we do some cardio. So I make sure that I hit every single area. And then on Saturdays I do full body. So I'll be in one area for one portion of my workout, move to the next area. I usually do 3 areas, 3 different workouts per area, however many reps, however much weight, move on. By the end of my workout, I make sure to get my cardio in where I run on the treadmill. I had to learn what works for my body and what I can be consistent with. This is consistent. If I have to do a lot of, working out at home solo, I can do it, especially when I'm recording videos for my classes. But I'm more of go to the gym, teach a class, get my workouts in. And then my biggest thing is I make sure to get outside and walk. I make sure to get on my walk pad and walk. And I just really stay consistent. This works for me. This is my shift, and this is the things that I've learned work for my body. So I want you to comment below, do you know what works for you? If so, make sure to leave it in the comments. So because I'm not selfish, and I always like to give you guys some tips and some tricks, and what you could do when you're working on yourself is, one, take yourself and stand in the mirror. Look at your body. Think about the things that you feel like you do like. Don't always focus on what you don't like or what you're uncomfortable with. What do you like? What are your assets? Whether it's your tatas or your bootay or your belly or your arms, or could just be your face card because it don't age. Whatever it is for you. Maybe you have pretty feet. Do not go on Feet Finder or go on OnlyFans to get a feet unless you're trying to make money. But no, seriously, find your attributes within your body that you do like, right? And then work from there. The biggest thing is to keep your body moving. So just because you don't feel like your body is exactly where you want it to be doesn't mean you have to let it stay there, for one. And then for two, make sure that you're just moving. So whether it's making sure to walk, making sure to get outside, maybe you have a walk pad, maybe you have a jump rope at home. Instead of sitting on the couch watching TV, maybe you just walk in place. Maybe you do have a gym membership. Set up some time for you to get into the gym. Find you a personal trainer. Find you a life coach. Find you a wellness coach who's able to help you figure out something for yourself. And if you're not ready to go there, just really focus on getting the body moving and having that movement throughout your body, whether it's stretching, whether it's yoga, Pilates, whether it's strength training, whatever you feel is comfortable for you. Because just because you see one person doing one thing doesn't mean that that's going to work for you. So the first thing is movement in your body. So the second one would be focus on consistency, not extremes. And what I mean by extremes is don't pick up someone else's workout routine or fitness routine or routine for their body that you think you can do on yours when you two may not be the same. So don't copy what I'm doing and say, yeah, I'm gonna get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna go to the gym and it's gonna be 5 to 7 times out of the week that I work out, if that actually doesn't work for you, or you know that you're gonna crash after this. So start off even with 2 days a week where you say, I'm going to get up, I'm going to work 45 minutes, or don't even start so big. Maybe you start 2 days a week and you say, I'm going to walk for 20 to 30 minutes a day. I'm going to do yoga. I'm going to do Pilates. I'm going to go to the gym. Start with consistency. If you can stay consistent with those 2 days out of the week, getting your 30 to 45 minutes in or your 15 to 20 minutes in, see how long you can do that. Then you can add in momentum. Then you can add in more. But I never want you to reach the point of extremes. How I first started in my journey was I liked to go to the gym most of the time, but I didn't want to go every single day of the week. So I started off with just making sure that I walked outside every single day, making sure that I got my 10,000 steps in, and at least getting 15-minute workouts 3 to 4 times out the week. Again, I already do this, so for me, it's going to be big. For you, it might be something different. What do you need? What does your body need? What does your personality need? What do you need at this moment in your life? Because a lot of the times we are inconsistent and we don't have that grounding because we don't know what we're doing. So even with that, if you're feeling like, okay, I've tried this, I've tried the consistency, it's not working. I've tried to go to the gym, it's not working. I've even tried to go to the classes. I've tried yoga, I've tried this, but I just don't feel like that I'm being consistent with my body. Then there may be other areas in your life that you may need help with. And that's where maybe you should think about finding a mentor, finding a coach, finding someone to be your accountability partner. I'm here. I do all of those things if you need. So the next one, number 3, would be connect your emotions with movement. And what I mean by that is maybe you're having a day where you feel off. Maybe you woke up sad. Maybe you feel melancholy. You should probably push into maybe a yoga or a Pilates or more of a slower flow versus going into the gym, going hard. Like some people, it works out for them, but feel where you are before you just make an assumption of what you need. Feel what your body needs. Maybe you need to stretch. Maybe you need to sit outside. Maybe you need to put your feet in the grass. Maybe you need to ground yourself. Or maybe you have where you're working out later on and you've taken on so much that you have so much aggression that you need to get it out. Go to the gym because you're going to be able to push yourself a little bit harder. You're going to be able to run it out on the treadmill or lift heavier weights. Or maybe you just feel like, I just don't want to work out. It's hard for me to do this alone. Then pick up a group class, go to a Pilates class, go to a yoga class, go to a Zumba and have fun. Just focus on what your emotions are and try to connect that emotion and what you feel to the movement that your body needs for your life. So I'll leave you with this. Your body is not your enemy. It's waiting on you to work with it, not against it. And through this entire process, the one thing I want all of you to remember what to do is Remember to breathe. You are human. We fall short at times. We are our biggest bully at times. It's okay. Take a moment, sit within yourself, calm yourself down, and as always, remember to breathe. If you like this video, of course, always make sure to leave a comment, hit that notification bell, that subscription button. Let me know if you want more of these. I feel real comfortable being in my car. I don't know what it is, but I do. I love you guys. You guys are great. You're amazing. You have the ability to do great things. Until next time, guys. I'm about to go eat my lunch.